Hi crafty friends, Nancy here with another video for you today. I was chatting with some crafty friends today about inks and why we choose what we choose, and I wanted to really give myself a visual about why I choose the inks I do for different projects, and thought what the heck, I'd make a little video for you as well. I honestly don't do a lot of videos because I just don't know what I can add to the video world for crafting, but once in a while I will definitely do one for you. So today we're going to be talking about the Memento Tuxedo Black, the Gina K Amalgam, the Catherine Pooler Midnight, and the VersaFine Clair. These are the 4 black inks I currently have in my stash. There have been a lot of others in the past, but these are the 4 that have made the cut at this point. So let's talk about each of them about why I like them and don't, and I've also got some samples here to show you. So the VersaFine Clair is my go-to ink pad. This is the Nocturne color. It is a wonderful ink for detailed stamping, for watercoloring. I use it pretty much every time I'm stamping something, unless I know for sure I'm going to be using alcohol markers on it. Or if I'm not sure, even if I'm not going to be using alcohol markers, I will use one of the others. But this is my go-to ink. I use it pretty much every project I do. I love the VersaFine Clair inks. I in fact bought the entire set of colors because not only are they great for detail stamps and line images, they are fabulous on those big bold stamps. You just get such a beautiful coverage from them. I just wish they were in more colors because their colors are pretty dark and bold, and sometimes you need something a little bit lighter but still have that good coverage. Next is the Catherine Pooler Midnight. I have it because I have full set syndrome and I have all of the Catherine Pooler inks. I purchased the Gina K Amalgam ink as soon as I could find it in Canada so I could try it out, and I've had the Memento Tuxedo Black for a very long time for Copic coloring. I use both of these for Copic coloring. This one I don't tend to use nearly as often, and I'll tell you why about that in a minute. The nice thing about the Catherine Pooler one is you can use it with colored pencils, watercolors, or Copic or other alcohol markers, which is really helpful. But we'll talk about why I don't use it as often in just a minute. So what I did is I took some little 2x2 squares here, put them in each of them in my MISTI, and stamped some words out just so you guys could see the difference between the inks. I hope it plays out in the video for you. This one here is the VersaFine Clair in that Nocturne color. Again, we're just working with the black colors, and I want you to see just how crisp and black this is just with one stamping. There is lots of definition between the letters, like the A and the R. They're nice and defined. It's a nice dark black color. Occasionally I will stamp it a second or a third time, which I did ×2 here with my MISTI, just to get it a little bit of that darker black color. But you do see every time you stamp it, you are losing some of that definition, as you can see between, or in the A and the R there. They're just a little bit more filled in. So if you're doing something really, really small like those words, I would probably stick to just a single stamping. But that is the VersaFine Clair Nocturne. The next one I stamped up was the Memento Tuxedo Black, and I will tell you I stamped this one about 3 or 4 different times because I was getting this weird look here on the thanks. See how it's kind of bubbled on the N and the K and the S? Actually, all the letters kind of have it. And I was surprised by that. I thought maybe I hadn't cleaned the stamp properly, or maybe I hadn't dried the stamp properly. So I tried a bunch of different times, bunch of different things, and it still gave me that look. And you can see that it's still a relatively dark black in comparison, but compared to that VersaFine, there's really no comparison in terms of the definition that you get. Here is the other side. You can't see that middle spot on the A and the R, and everything is starting to look really fuzzy in those smaller letters, and even fuzzy, especially in comparison here to that VersaFine Clair. That was my go-to for Copic coloring for a very long time. And then I picked up the Gina K Amalgam, which is this one here. And as you can see, compared to that Memento Tuxedo Black, it's a little bit lighter in color, or saturation, I guess. But that could be because I need to re-ink it. I'd have to look at that for sure. But it's definitely more defined than the Tuxedo Black. However, when we flip it over, you'll see that we are losing some of the definition that you get here with the VersaFine, but it is way better than that Memento. So the Gina K is my go-to now when I know I'm going to be Copic coloring, or if I'm not actually sure what I'm going to be doing, I will grab that if I don't have a thought in my head already. And finally, this is the Catherine Pooler Midnight. Again, I'm going to compare it to the VersaFine first. You can see I've got just a little bit more coverage and a little bit more fineness to those details. And then when we flip it over, again, we get that weirdness in that N and K, that kind of bubbling almost, and it's not nearly as nice up here, not nearly as crisp as the VersaFine is. So these three inks, the Memento, the Gina K, and the VersaFine, they are all a linen ink pad. You can see that it's raised up from the container, and it's like a hard linen. The difference with the Catherine Pooler is it's a foam pad, so you need a really, really light touch with this on your stamp. Otherwise, you're going to be filling up all those cracks and crevices, which isn't a good idea. Now, I told you there was something I really didn't like about the Catherine Pooler ink, and it happens with the Midnight and some of her colors as well, especially the red family, is it really stains your stamps. And I know, a well-loved stamp is going to be stained, but the Midnight stains to the point that you actually have trouble reading what that stamp says any longer. It may be, the stamp will work absolutely fine, but you can't read what it says. So when you're trying to find the sentiment that you want, you're not gonna be able to read it nearly as well. And once you put it back on the plastic, because there's no differentiation between the black now, that stamp, and the black writing on the packaging, here, I can show you here, this one here, it's really hard to see that says thanks. This is the stamp that I just used, and it's really hard to read that this says this card is full of. So that is my problem with the Catherine Pooler ink. It's a fabulous ink to work with. I love that you can use it for so many different reasons, but I hate the staining that happens. The other ink pads stain a titch, but like this one here has been used quite a bit and has stained just a little bit. This was the only one that I had used that Catherine Pooler ink on though. So that's the thing I don't like about it. If I had to go shopping, or if I was telling a new stamper what inks to buy, the two that I would be telling them to buy would be the VersaFine Clair. That would be the very first one I would tell them to buy. And then if they thought they might be doing some coloring with alcohol inks, I would ask them or suggest to them that they get the Amalgam by Gina K. I highly recommend you try something like this on your own. Use a MISTI or another stamp positioning tool if you've got it, so you know exactly how much pressure you're using and how well inked everything is, and you can do that double stamping as well. But definitely try it out for yourself. I honestly had been using my Memento again lately, thinking it was doing better than my Gina K, but after this test today, as you can see here, there is no contest between the two of them. The Gina K is looking nicer right now than my Memento. If you've got any questions, drop me a comment. Have a great day.